Okay, we are live.
Your turn or my turn?
Well, we've already broke the show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Gamers Got a Game. That's Adam.
Yeah, I don't know why my name isn't coming up on there.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, it's your fault.
Oh, sure. Blame the director.
Yes, that's a very good thing to do, is usually blame the director. Isn't that how Hollywood works?
Hollywood, local news, yeah.
So it does. I know you work with the news. Do they actually blame the director for pretty much everything?
Depends on how bad it goes wrong.
So minor inconveniences are just no big deal. Big things are always blamed on the director.
At least where I'm at, like if it's just something like minuscule, we'll just ignore it. But so if it's like, you know, 3 wrong videos in a block or something, then, you know, the anchor comes back and yells at us.
Is it like 5 seconds of dead air? Nobody cares. 10 seconds. Somebody's
pretty much. Fired. Yeah, because at least with the setup I have to use, there's a 7-second delay between what we're doing and when it shows up on air.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it's a little hard to gauge that. So if there's like 3 seconds of black, then whatever.
Yeah, I've always wondered how that really works. Because every so often, every so often when I'm watching TV, I'll see like it'll just go to black air, and I'll be like, oh, okay, somebody didn't hit the button or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of reasons why that could happen. But yeah, no, if you're curious, you should apply to a station nearby. You can get a job like running camera or something. It's not difficult.
I've got a TV studio that's literally about a block from my house.
Hey, perfect.
So maybe I'll go there. I actually did look for a job there. I didn't see that they had anything. What do you look for? Like camera operator?
Yeah, look for like production assistant, camera operator, something along those lines.
Okay. You don't have to have a college degree for a lot of that.
Nope. As long as you have your high school diploma, you should be good to go. Sweet,
I got that. All right. So what do you got? What are you doing this weekend?
Work. That's why we do these in the morning.
Oh yeah, that's true. Well, I was trying to segue into that. If you want to, can you put up that little banner?
Boop.
Yep. I was talking the segue banner.
Oh.
I was trying to segue.
On. Wait. Bear with.
Well, one thing that you could do this weekend is you could actually go to the movie.
Yes.
Trying to get this stuff. I don't know why.
The mantra of this show.
Yes. It's like, wait, I don't know why it's not pulling up.
Hold on, I got it. There it is. National Cinema Day, which is this Sunday,
tomorrow,
August 27th. National Cinema Day offers $4 movie tickets.
And that's pretty cool. I mean, considering you just had Barbenheimer, and you had which was Barbie and Oppenheimer. You've got Strays just came out this weekend. You got another story that we're going to be talking about here in just a minute. Imagine being able to go to the movies for $4. I don't think I've ever. Okay,
$4.
True. I was going to say I don't know if I've ever gone there for that cheap, but yes, in my hometown there was a movie theater that on Saturdays would do $1 showings of like second or third run movies, but not first run like this.
Yeah, you can't even get this cheap of tickets on Tuesdays.
Tuesdays is like $5.
Exactly.
At least where I'm at, I usually go to Showplace or AMC. Those are the two main ones that are around my area, and they're $5. Both of them do $5 Tuesdays. This will save me $1.
Yeah, AMC, like you have to be a member, and then you have to do the premium thing, and then you get your $5 tickets.
Yeah.
Or you can do like my friend did, not realize you have so many points saved up, and go see Indiana Jones for free.
That's about what you should do for movies. Some of those movies, make sure you see them for free. And I pick on Indiana Jones. I did like the last movie. I don't know if you saw it.
I did. I'm still in the camp that there's only 3 Indiana Jones movies.
It was enjoyable, but it was nowhere near as good as the original trilogy.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a lot of like action set pieces. It wasn't boring necessarily, but it's just like just the I wasn't a fan of like how some of the characters were treated, you know.
Mm-hmm. At least they went back to Nazi killing.
Yeah.
So that was always good. And actually, the new game coming out actually promises lots of Nazi killing.
Oh, good.
So I'm like, it's okay to kill Nazis. It's fine.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's like, oh, aren't you like, you know, you don't usually are a violent person. It's like, this is video games and entertainment. It's fine to kill Nazis.
It's violent, you know, too many violets on TV. Also, you know, you could spin it in ways like it's history. There were a lot of Nazis killed during World War II.
Definitely. But yeah, I was just kind of looking at the article here. So yeah, it says Sunday, August 27th, discounted tickets will be available for all movies, including first run movies like Barbie and Oppenheimer, for all showtimes and all formats at more than 3,000 theaters. 3,000 participating theaters nationwide. Now that means that a double feature would only cost you like $8.
Right.
I mean, think about it. That's like less than the price of an actual ticket now.
Yeah, you can Barbenheimer for less than the price of one. Can you imagine?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine?
My wife and I are actually going to take advantage of this. And I ordered our tickets yesterday. With Showplace, it's they have like a $2 convenience fee. So we're gonna go see Strays for $10 for the two of us to get in. Not $10 a piece, $10 even.
And then spend 40 on popcorn.
Probably.
That's I don't do it too.
Yeah, I don't always buy a lot of snacks at the theater, but I was thinking I would actually go to lunch before. And
yeah, that's usually the smart play.
That way, when I go there, I only have to, and then I don't eat completely to fill me up at lunch. What I do is then I'll go and I'll buy like maybe a drink and a candy snack or something.
Yeah, usually, because the friend I usually go to see movies with, she always wants a popcorn. So I was like, all right. But yeah, I try to convince her, like, yeah, why don't we just like eat before or after? And then we'll just do like Chili's.
Yeah. But interesting with that is that so you can see Barbenheimer for $8, which I was saying there. Now, even if you catch Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer in the IMAX, you can still get in for $4. So there's no what do you call it?
There's no reason not to experience it in IMAX now.
Exactly. Well, speaking of IMAX, though, Barbie is actually going to go back in, or is actually going to go into the IMAX theaters with special extra included scenes, like deleted scenes. They're going to go in there, and it's going to be, I want to say it's September 24th.
So you get 3 extra minutes of hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Ken, hi Barbie.
Yes. That would be your dream, wouldn't it?
Yeah, no, that's a #1 theater experience of 2023.
Hi Barbie, hi Barbie. That did get annoying at the very beginning, but it's the rest of the movie, once she gets into the real world, it becomes a really good movie.
Well, for $4, I might try to re-experience it. Maybe not. We'll see.
$4, dude. You can't lose anything, really. All right. So, well, speaking of movies, guess what else is going back into the theaters?
Let's find out in 3.2 seconds.
3.2.
I'll give you a hint. We've already kind of touched on it. It's them, Mario Brothers.
Mm-hmm. And I'm actually really excited about that. Mario Brothers is actually returning to the theaters for National Cinema Day. So if you don't want to do Barbenheimer, if you don't want to do Ninja Turtles, Strays, none of them that are piquing your fancy, well, go back and go see the Mario Brothers movie.
Hey, I'd go back and see it too. It's good stuff.
That was a great movie. Honestly, I kind of want to get that one. I still have Blu-rays. I don't stream literally everything, because I can't always find it on streaming, and sometimes I don't want to pay for the streaming service. So I'll still buy Blu-rays. And actually, Barbie and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Mario are ones that I want to buy on Blu-ray.
What year is this?
Exactly.
Mario, Barbie, Ninja Turtles.
That's the thing, though, is like with a lot of the movies are not doing very well this summer. There's Barbie is literally the only billion-dollar movie, and Oppenheimer is kind of climbing it, but there aren't really a lot. And they thought that this was going to be the summer with billion-dollar franchise after billion-dollar franchise.
Well, in a perfect world, it could have been it.
Maybe. The whole thing was so messed up. They put up I think the first movie of the summer was Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
That's the first notable one.
Yeah, and that was really good. It was like, okay, if we're gonna kick off the summer blockbuster stuff on this note, we got a great summer coming up. But then it was like just everything fell off after that. It's like you had that, then you had Mario, which was fan-freaking-tastic. And then it was like, all these other movies look good, but they're just the latest entry in a long-running franchise. Right. A new Transformers, great. How many times can you see these robots rip apart a city?
Granted, it was Beast Wars, so again, 90s kids at attention. But yeah, it's just same Disney crap after Disney crap after Disney crap, and then Mario happened, and then Disney crap, and then Disney crap, then Barbenheimer.
Yeah. Because, I mean, what was there? There was the Little Mermaid live action, which I don't think that failed, but I think it did. It got its money back, but they're not looking to get their money back. They're looking to profit.
I think there was too much of a press nightmare behind, not a press nightmare, but just a lot of leading up to it. There's just a lot of BS around. Oh, Ariel's black in this one.
I could have cared less that Ariel was black.
It wasn't the thing that didn't bother me that Ariel was black. It was more that Flounder was too photorealistic.
Yeah, Sebastian looked like something out of your nightmares.
Right? Yeah. They need to stop with the CGI shit. They don't know how to do it.
Well, even if you are going to do CGI, they should do it kind of like Scooby-Doo did. Remember when Scooby-Doo was in there? It was stylized. While it was still very computer animation, it was still very what do you call that? It was very it drew from the source material.
Yeah.
It was campy, it was cheesy, it was supposed to be camp and cheese.
It was campy, it was cheesy. They weren't forcing any messages into it.
Well, they were a little bit, but not to the point that a lot of them do now.
No.
Now they just here's a message and shove it at you. They didn't other movies used to just kind of put it in very subtly,
Yeah, and that's not the worst way to do it.
I know we're gonna go off topic here, but did you know in the Scooby-Doo movie, the original Scooby-Doo movie was supposed to be PG-13, but the MPAA just seemed to refuse to classify it as that?
I remember hearing something about that. I know there was a lot more more quote unquote adult things going on with Velma.
Yes. Well, it was with all of them actually, and sometimes if now that you know about it, if you go back and look at the original movie now, original movie, but you know what I'm saying. If you go back and look at that movie now, you can actually see where some subplots were left in that. It's like they probably didn't delete them because that scene was important to other things.
It was a military scene.
Yeah. Well, okay, so they were going to explore Velma's sexuality. They were going to make her gay. And then, what was the other one? They were going to actually make Shaggy a stoner.
Kind of leaning into the the headcanon people have had for decades. Yes, Velma was gay. Yes, Shaggy's a stoner.
Yes.
I think...
Go ahead.
Wasn't Daphne also going to get, for lack of a better word, dishonored? Or am I thinking of something else?
That might have been something else. I don't remember that, and I don't have the story pulled up here. But I know there was going to be something with her. But yeah, those were the two main things, and then they were gonna make it more. They were really gonna make it more adult, and they were aiming for the PG-13. And the studio told them, nope, you're either gonna get a PG rating or we're gonna R rate it until you pull out enough to make it PG.
Could you imagine like an R-rated Scooby-Doo that isn't Velma on HBO Max?
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
Where like
I'd watch it.
Like they solve like an actual like serial killer thing, and it's still a dude in a mask.
Mm. Imagine if the Scooby-Doo gang did a crossover with Scream, and they had to figure out who Ghostface was.
Yeah.
That would probably be best animated, but
yeah.
$1 million idea just waiting to happen. Of course, wait, $1 million doesn't really get you anything now. We need a $2 million idea.
$100 billion.
There we go. Okay, Dr. Evil. You gotta love it. I really wish they'd bring Austin Powers back. What are you doing with that microphone?
I had a cable that was a little loosey-goosey.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait.
But yeah, no, wasn't Austin Powers 4 supposed to be a thing?
It was supposed to be, and Demi Moore was actually supposed to set up to produce because a lot of people don't know, Demi Moore produced the first 3.
Is that right?
Yeah. She was set to produce, and I've heard rumors and rumors and rumors of it, and nothing's ever come.
Huh. Maybe it's one of those ones that'll... Nah, I feel like it's too late now.
I don't know. In the Me Too movement, would Austin Powers even be allowed?
Yeah,
maybe now because he's more nostalgic, and
maybe
could.
And since he, because the whole thing is like he's been displaced from the 60s, and so maybe he's picked up more of the modern sensibilities. But then like something causes him to go back to the 60s, and then he kind of reverts to how he was originally.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there already was the scene in the very first movie where he had the option to have sex with Elizabeth Hurley's character.
Yeah, when she was like drunk and he was honorable about it.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not like he's he might be a sexed up, crazed fiend, but at least he's got morals,
Right, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember that he was like, she was really throwing herself at him, and he was like, "You're drunk. It would not be right."
Right.
Yeah, like that would be taking advantage. So maybe you could make it in this current like climate. Maybe, I don't know, but if they did, I'd be for it because I've always loved the Austin Powers movies. Just I see them for what they are. They're just supposed to be stupid fun.
Right. It's just a stupid like very like madcap spoof of James Bond.
Yeah. And speaking of movies, there's other movies going on now, and a little bit more about what we've talked about with Mario and Barbie. Did you know that Barbie is actually on its way to collect more coins than Mario?
I do now. But yeah, I feel like this, I think this is just revealing like the new trend in Hollywood. Once they get back on their feet, because let's be real, superhero movies, even though they are still kind of cool, they're played out. They need a rest, and the people behind these movies, like Mario and Barbie and such, I think this is like the next wave. This is like the next big thing. Don't have to go back to Westerns necessarily.
Right. Well, it's just nice to see, honestly, with things like Barbie, like Oppenheimer, like Mario. Yeah, especially with Mario and Barbie, they're being pulled from, the 1980s, even 1950s IPs, but the stories that they're telling us are original.
Yes.
And that's really good to see. There's so many that are just, again, I know we were talking Beast Wars, but I mean, even like The Flash, it's just another superhero movie. I definitely want to see it. I have not seen it yet. I'll admit that. I haven't seen it yet. I want to. but it's just another superhero movie. And then you had, the Meg 2, which is supposed to be just another kind of silly, campy cheese. But I'm like, okay, but it's just another shark movie with Jason Statham running around. We're not getting into prequels, sequels, and reboots. We're getting into some decent originality. You okay?
Yes.
you
just they're doing some gasp original ideas, at least somewhat.
I know, and I'm really excited for it with Mario. Mario right now is actually at the 574 million domestic mark, and Barbie is probably with National Cinema Day. I'll bet Barbie overtakes that.
I could see that happening eventually, especially because yeah, sorry, brain fart. Shutting down.
Really? So you were saying you could see Barbie overtaking the Mario at the domestic.
Yeah, I could see that happening eventually. As much of a like wide appeal as Mario has, Barbie also has a history behind her, and there's a lot more. Wow, words are hard today. I'm sorry, but yeah, like there's just something about Barbie that's just definitely gonna kind of at least take it in the short run.
Yeah, words are hard most days, though. Just to be honest.
Sorry, I'm waking up too. My coffee hasn't kicked in yet.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't. If anybody's looking at me, when I did the radio show, you could not see my face, but I always do the radio show after work. This we're doing on Saturday mornings, and it's just I'm not used to waking up on Saturday mornings.
Yeah, that's my fault because I work second shift, and so I'm in no mood to talk at like midnight after talking for 8 hours.
Yeah. That's like a lot of my family. They're always like, hey, how come you don't call us? I'm like, because that would require being on the phone. And I'm on the phone all day. I work in a call center that people call in, It's But you know what? Maybe we should make this like a coffee show too. Be like, I'm not really a big coffee drinker, but like coffee, cocoa, something.
Yeah, it's my morning cup. My morning cup.
Well, you know what? We could call it Gaming with Joe. The Joe be the coffee. Who's Joe?
Gamer Joe.
Gamer Joe. Now, speaking of movies here, Sony is actually Sony Patent actually plots movie theater company experience plots movie theater co-op experience for hundreds. I don't know. Did you hear about that?
Not until last night. Like, it's an interesting concept, especially if you can get, like, say you're part of like a guild or something in an MMO, and you can somehow get 104 player couch co-op or something to work.
That would be so awesome. I'd be up for it.
And just robble in the crowd. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, you say robble. I think about the Hamburglar.
Grimace and his 2 to 4 arms.
Robble.
Or, it'd be that'd be pretty neat. I'm looking at the article here, having a Fall Guys-esque experience. That would be pretty sick.
Yeah, so for anybody that's listening here, Sony was exploring a way to bring couch co-op experiences to the masses in cinema screen size sessions for potentially hundreds. Excuse me, I don't know why I can't talk right now. Words are hard.
That's going to be the title of this episode. Words are hard.
I'm going to see if I can take this down and edit it, and we're just going to be words are hard. Words are hard. Words are hard. It's the hardest thing in the world. Words.
Words.
Yeah, while the platform holder hosts a lot of patents that rarely ever come to fruition, this massively multiplayer solution is interesting enough to warrant reporting on. even if it's unlikely to ever become a reality. But honestly, it'd be a very interesting concept, though.
It would be cool.
This sounds like maybe something you could do with like the VR stuff, like put that on and then.
Oh yeah, at least in VR or at least have a more basic version of it. Just like hold like tournaments there, and then just have like the live audience, being able to look at a much larger screen.
Yeah, that would be so cool. I'd very much be up for that.
And that would open like how many more venues? Like you don't have to rent out a whole like exhibit hall or anything. Just rent it from AMC or whoever for like 4 hours.
I am definitely up for that if you are.
Yeah, I would be going to a lot more locals if that was the case.
But yeah, and speaking of PlayStation, though, what do you say we talk about our favorite web slinging friend?
Yes. Do you have that article? It didn't pop up on mine.
Oh, it didn't pop up on yours?
No.
Yep, I can definitely share that. This is actually one of my favorite things to talk about. Is actually accessibility. So there's actually so a lot of people when they play video games, most people just want it just the regular way, but a lot of people who have physical or even mental sometimes disabilities, they can't play it the way that you and I might play it.
Right.
Right. So, and this actually makes it so that everybody can play.
Yeah, because not everybody's handy capable, Sean.
Exactly. So Marvel's PlayStation 2 Store actually reveals Spider-Man 2's accessibility features, and I would not be, after reading this article, I would not be surprised if they're up for an accessibility award at the Game Awards, which we will talk about later too. So this information, this was actually coming from what was that? CanIPlayThat.com. The newer site, I think. I have not seen this one for a while. But anyway, the answer to the question states that the game builds on the accessibility improvements of previous titles. This suggests that you can expect the features already present in the previous Spider-Man games to return. Plus, you'll probably get some new ones here.
Yeah, the screen reader, the audio descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
I felt for the longest time that at the very least subtitles are almost mandatory, because like even if your hearing is still fine, sometimes the audio mix on some games is not the greatest and you can't always make out the dialogue. Mm-hmm. So having the captions there definitely helps things out for anyone and everyone. And then the audio descriptions, I don't know why, just like really like bad like AI robot voices just make me laugh.
Yeah.
Like I have I have a copy of like the Ocarina of Time PC port, and it has the audio description, and just the voice they use and how it reads it sometimes is just too good. Like pick up a Deku Nut, it's like, you have a Deku Nut.
Yeah, there's been other times where I'm just like, did he seriously say that the way that I think that he said that? And it's like, there's been a bunch of times where I've also sat there going like, how did that not get caught by the people doing this?
Did I ever say my favorite, like, what the fuck kind of piece of localization in anime?
No.
It's from Dragon Ball Super. And it's from the Goku Black arc.
And
it's at the point where Future Trunks brings normal Goku into the future, and as soon as they arrive, all the guards are trained on Goku. And then I swear to God, this aired in the US, where Trunks is going, "Hold your fire! That man isn't black!" And I was sitting there going, I was like, how did this get past localization? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of times like that, what can really be what pushes that through is if it's intentionally satirical.
I guess.
It's like, you think about it, like if you look at like the Merry Melodies cartoons versus like something like Family Guy, where they could have been. I don't think Merry Melodies was always intentionally trying to offend, but they were going with things that were okay to the time.
Yeah.
But then you go to like something like Family Guy or South Park, and it's like, oh, that's offensive. Yeah, that's supposed to be that way.
The thing is, though, like this aired in like 2018, so people were already like hypersensitive to that stuff.
That was probably, they were trying to go for satirical. That's probably how they got away with it. That's the only thing I can think of.
I just saw it as like an oversight, and they were like, "No, it's no time. We got to get it out."
Yep, and well, speaking of Spider-Man, they actually officially rated Spider-Man. I don't know if you saw that. It's nothing too surprising on there. It got the T for teen rating. Blood, drug references, mild language, and violence. It sounds like it's going to have a lot of the same stuff that the first game did. If you played that, and the Miles Morales game, it's gonna be a little darker though. I think in tone, just with Venom in there.
Definitely.
I mean, you think about it, the first one touched on some really dark tones. I mean, they had a terrorist attack that killed innocent civilians in broad daylight with no remorse.
No remorse. And in this one, after obtaining the black suit, Peter Parker picks up smoking, hence the drugs.
Yeah, well, there's that, but then there's also when him and Miles are kind of going around the city and going, you can actually see the criminals selling drugs. It's unnamed drugs, but they're like, it's this little white package that's obviously supposed to represent cocaine or heroin or something. They don't name it, but they do, and they don't say how it's done, but it's there.
Excuse me, little boy. Can I interest you in buying drugs?
Buying a drugs. Yep. Now, one of the things that Spider-Man does a lot there is he climbs all over those buildings and everything. Yeah. I always was kind of wondering, and I say this every time I'm streaming Spider-Man, every single time. Do you think that that car insurance companies and pretty much all insurance companies would have to have some sort of not a webbing clause like he says in the game, but do you think they'd have to have some sort of Spider-Man clause like, oh, by the way, Spider-Man picked up your car and threw it at a villain?
the vigilante clause.
Yeah, vigilante clause.
It's like having volcano insurance and you're in Rhode Island.
But yeah, I can see that. But it's like, but if you're right there in New York where all these fights seem to be breaking out, because I mean, think about it. If you played the game, like Avengers Tower is right there.
It's like beats up a rhino with your car. Has this ever happened with your car insurance?
That would actually probably be something that you'd see on like Progressive or something. You'd have Flo going like, "Hi, Spider-Man." He's like, "Whoa!" Like he picks up somebody's car. He's like, "Hey, get out of the way!" And then she's like, "Was that guy insured?" Then they can actually put that out there and be like, when the superheroes use your car as a weapon, turn to Progressive.
Right. Cut to the Hulk using your car's boxing gloves.
That would be, what is that, State Farm Insurance? They'd be like aliens coming down and then deciding that your car is their glove. We covered that. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two.
We've seen a thing or two. Yeah, speaking of like Spider-Man, is like, how often does this happen? I wonder how many times like he's just kind of like crawled up a building and just accidentally caught a glimpse of like a more intimate moment.
Yeah.
And then it turns into, get a room, you two. We're in a room. Well, lose some weight.
They did do that somewhat in the first game. It was in one of J. Jonah Jameson's podcasts. They had a woman call up and she was like, I was getting out of the shower and who do I see crawling up the building but Spider-Man. I was naked. And then he's like, ma'am, I apologize that this it's like you hear J. Jonah Jameson trying to console her. And then he's like, you know why he did that? Because not only is he a vigilante, not only is he a troublemaker, but he's a pervert. So I'm like, yeah, so he's probably come into things like that before. My thing that I've talked about on stream before was, okay, when Spider-Man was new, you know how he fires out like the web bullets that come out of his hands?
Yeah.
Do you think, especially when those were new, do you think he ever missed a guy and like accidentally whipped somebody else? Like, the guy didn't realize there was a fight coming out and then walked out of a store and then just got webbed in the face or webbed in the balls,
Kind of has like that, a bit of like the Frank Grimes luck. He's just, like you say, he's like walking out of the store with his groceries. All of a sudden, he's like,
ow.
Like, man, this is the third time this week.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I've talked about that before, being like, okay, and then how would that actually go? Would they be bruised or would they come off?
Well, it's biodegradable. So depending on how heavy the impact is, might be a little bit of bruising, but there's going to be, I wouldn't imagine any long-term effects.
I would hope not. Otherwise, Spider-Man's responsible for the world's diminishing people.
Spider-Man's webbing is responsible for bone disease. Find out how tonight at 11.
Exactly. Now, speaking of people that like to crawl up buildings, did you see the new Assassin's Creed Mirage trailer?
Not the newest one.
The newest one? Yep. Go ahead. Let's watch.
Let's share my screen. Let's watch.
كم مضى منذ رحيلك عن بغداد؟
أعوام لا أذكر مقدارها.
Again, reinforcing the importance of subtitles.
Mm-hmm.
كنت أعرف دائما أنني سأعود يوما ما.
لقد عاد للتو من طنجة. كنا في المتجر ولذا
قضيت الكثير من طفولتي في هذه الشوارع.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting some, like the old Assassin's Creed vibes out of this.
Oh, definitely.
استمتع بهذا المكان. كنا نتسلل إلى بيت الحكمة في صغرنا أنا وصديقتي نهال.
السلام عليكم.
ذكريات جميلة صارت كريهة الآن. قلبي يتألم لما حدث لهم.
Back when Assassin's Creed was good.
مستتر يتهيأ لإعادة النور إلى أحلك أركان المدينة.
Might go back and play the Ezio trilogy before this comes out.
إني أبعد نصلي عن الأبرياء وليس عن تنظيم القدماء.
Flamethrower.
Mm-hmm.
لننهي هذا الأمر.
"40 Thieves." Is that like a bonus mission?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Okay, I'm actually into it. I really enjoyed old school Assassin's Creed, like the original, for as jank as it was, and the Ezio trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like those for sure. But it brings to our point, as we noticed in the trailer, Assassin's Creed Mirage features full Arabic voiceover. And
yeah, I'm excited for that. I don't know why, because I probably won't use it, but
I might, if I do more than one run, I'll definitely do one on Arabic, because it just lends to the, honestly, it immerses you a little bit more. It's more authentic that they wouldn't be speaking English.
Right. I know they kind of explain it about how they're speaking English in these older ones, where it's the person that's in the Animus.
Mm-hmm.
And then they recalibrate it so that you can understand what they're saying. But definitely, it does.
Right.
You're right. It does add more authenticity to it. So I mean, that kind of, but that's, where they explain that's how they're speaking English and that's how you can understand it.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. It's kind of like a universal translator from Star Trek kind of a deal.
Exactly. Yeah, because I was always wondering on Star Trek, how are they going to all these planets and just totally understand what everybody's saying?
Depending on how far in the timeline you are, you either have a xenolinguist like Uhura, who's able to translate everything, or go a little further like TNG. They have that all as kind of like, it's just a program in the comm badge. But yeah, no, I dig stuff like that. Like, I remember, what was it, like Street Fighter 3? You had the option to choose which language each individual character spoke. So, like, I think I had a set at one point where it's like, like Ryu and Chun-Li, and like I think like E Honda, like I had them all speaking Japanese, while like Ken, Dudley, and whoever else was in English.
But they can understand each other,
right?
Yeah.
Or I think I just love, like, if I love words are hard.
Yeah, words are hard.
Ladies and gentlemen, words are hard.
This is no longer Gamers Got a Game. This is called Words Are Hard.
Words are hard. Today's theme. Playing Rayman 3 in Italian. That's also, it's fun and educational.
Now, with Assassin's Creed, though, the feature announced it was actually announced as far back as last year. This trailer that you saw was actually the first time we actually ever saw it in action. Yeah. Now, it's hard to speak specifically to quality of the translation, but it certainly sounds authentic, and like you were saying, heightens 9th century Baghdad. Now when we're going to be journeying to the Middle East here, with that, I'm really interested to see, like, kind of if they explore more of the history of Baghdad, like if they make it where the city is kind of a character in its own.
Yeah,
I mean, they've kind of done that with the other ones, sometimes to varying degrees of success, and I really hope that it does. Honestly, I think the RPG ones kind of lost the character a little bit.
They lost the character.
Yeah, there's just so much.
It got too big for its own good. If Ubisoft wanted to, like, basically just like make their own Skyrim and not have it attached to Assassin's Creed, I think that would have lent a little better to some of those games, because you didn't have that brand confusion of like, but this is an Assassin's Creed game. Why am I going and fighting the Elder God?
Right.
And this is supposed to be kind of like a historical drama.
I don't know where Assassin's Creed exactly lost it. I want to say maybe it was with Origins.
I want to say yes, because there was that whole, they just changed the entire format for that game on.
And Origins was actually really good, I thought.
It was good, but I think they could have spun it off into a different IP, where they could have blended like the ideas for like Assassin's Creed and God of War, because in Origins you were also fighting Egyptian gods at some point. So I think they could have blended the two.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of the things that they were putting in for DLCs, at least from my perspective here, what they were putting in for DLCs, where it was like, oh yeah, you're going to go back into the Animus, and oh, by the way, this isn't exactly historical. This is more, this is more, what do you call that? I can't think of the word. This is more of like, where they have like an alternate timeline.
Yeah, like an alternate timeline, or it's like this. Like, this is a mythology study, and I figured you would be a good candidate considering how good you are with the Animus.
Exactly. If they did that, that was the problem. They did that. They tried, but it just seemed like Assassin's Creed became more what the DLCs were instead of what actual history was.
Yeah. And that was a draw with the early ones too. Is like, yeah, there's a lot of, at least as they were advertising, a lot of historical accuracies.
And they were pretty upfront that it wasn't 100% accurate, but it was.
No, not 100%. You didn't have some guy, it basically showed like how they had actual historical figures, and they had roughly when they died, but it wasn't because somebody was picking them off with throwing knives.
Right. Right. It was see, like if with Assassin's Creed, if they were to finally do one in World War II, which I think they've said they will probably never do, but if they were to do one in World War II, you'd know it would be like it would be the assassin that like went down
Like
and
that, yeah,
killed
like that's who
Hitler.
killed Hitler. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then made it look like a suicide.
And then just made like before Eva Braun went, just like, all right, shove this pill in his mouth.
Mm-hmm. I can totally see them doing that, but
but yeah, I remember hearing that too. The creator was like, "No, we're never touching World War II."
Yeah, but you never know because a lot of the original creators aren't working on the series anymore.
Oh, this is true. I am excited though. They're finally doing feudal Japan.
Yes. Excited for that, and I'm excited for. I want to see more about what Assassin's Creed Hex is supposed to be like.
Hex, which one was that?
That was that more like witchcraft, like real dark one that almost looks more like a horror game.
Yeah, let's explore that.
Yeah, they were saying that one's gonna have more of like a strong like feminine energy. So I'm assuming you're probably gonna play as a female assassin. But I was like, some people were kind of looking at that and going like, oh, well, give us a choice, a guy or a girl. But I'm like, if it's set during the Salem witch trials, it would actually make sense to have a female.
Yeah, no, like it's taking place during the Salem witch trials, and figure the allegory for the assassins is like a witch's coven.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It doesn't make so much sense to have a dude in there.
It makes sense to have dudes there as allies, but not as the main protagonist.
No, yeah.
I mean, it really does make more sense. But then again, they haven't really said that it's during the witch trials. But that announcement trailer, I was getting Salem witch trials vibes out of it.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So we'll see what happens with that one. I am really excited for that one. There's actually a lot of horror games coming out that I'm excited for. But speaking of history, kind of a little more recent history here.
It's a historical moment for certain, especially if you've been a Nintendo fan in the last 30 years or so.
Exactly. Give the article.
Our voice of Mario, Charles Martinet, has stepped back from voicing Mario. As you can see here, I think this announcement dropped on Monday.
Yeah.
Where Nintendo of America and Canada, basically all over, has said, as you can see here, quote, Charles Martinet has been the original voice of Mario in Nintendo games for a long time, as far back as Mario 64, even a little before then, for whatever expo he started voicing. But his first game was Mario 64.
Right.
Charles is now moving into the brand new role of Mario Ambassador. With this transition, he will be stepping back from recording character voices for our games, but he'll continue to travel the world, sharing the joy of Mario and interacting with you all. So yeah, I mean, if you remember the new WarioWare trailer and the Mario Wonder trailer, and you thought it sounded just a little bit off, like you're wondering kind of like, was he just having like an off session or whatever? No, I think they didn't like announce it, but yeah, no, he's kind of passed the torch, which, hey, having a gig for 30 years, that's a really good run.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know if this is the case, but someone else I was talking with is like, they probably are doing this so that way, Nintendo, they want to show, how much they appreciate him, giving him a role within like the Nintendo company instead of just being a voice actor. So that way they can send him up with like a retirement fund or a pension or however they do it.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Was he actually hired directly in by Nintendo, or was he hired in by like a what do you call it? Like a union or another, like a third party?
I'm not sure exactly. I think he's a part of the union.
I thought he worked directly for Nintendo, but then he was also like part of the union so that he could do other jobs.
Yeah, there might be like a special contract he was under.
Yeah, like nobody else could ever do Mario.
Right, like it's kind of in a way of like probably like a similar case with like Mickey Mouse, for example, is they kind of have someone kind of going for their lifetime doing the role, and then when they're not able to anymore, that's when they'll find someone else. But it's not like, they're like, it's not quite like Batman where, yeah, anybody can play Batman. It's just we just like this particular cluster of actors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be sad to see him go. He's actually been voicing Mario, like we said, since Nintendo 64, since actually before then. He actually even recently did a voice for he did the voice of Mario's dad, if I remember right, in the new Super Mario Brothers movie, and that's partially why he didn't voice Mario. Because one, I think he didn't want to do it, and two, I mean, while it's great to have him as the voice of Mario, could you imagine Yahoo the whole way through?
Yeah, I think they explained it well when they did the bit with the commercial and we're here for plumbing.
Don't talk.
And it's like, yeah, would you really want to listen to that for 2 hours straight?
No. I mean, I think that was one of the biggest problems with the Chipmunks movie. It was like that. Oh, an Alvin and the Chipmunks movie sounds great. Oh, you gotta listen to those voices for an hour.
Yeah, you can stand it for like that one song. But beyond that.
That was actually, I worked at Borders Books when that movie came out on DVD, and we had a copy of it. We were starting to kind of show movies in there that we were trying to get like kids more involved, and like, adults would look there. We put on the Chipmunks movie, and I'm not even kidding. As soon as all the employees walked away from that one area, customers were literally turning it off.
Yeah.
The TV was right there. They could touch the buttons. We were telling them not to, but they would. And they would literally shut it off.
Yeah, similar to I remember when Frozen 1 was new. I was working at Walmart at the time, and we had like a little TV island set up display that had to play something 24/7, and it was Frozen. Yeah. And ad nauseum on repeat, 8 hours straight. Eventually I got so sick of it, I switched the language to Portuguese.
Okay.
And not everybody was as amused by it as I was, but it's like, I need to break this up.
Yeah. That's like when I worked at Best Buy, we would just hear the same. It was actually when one of the other Transformers movies was out. We would just hear the same scene on repeat, and he's like, how do you say "get the fuck out of the way" in Korean?
And it's at that point you just look it up and then you just start screaming it back at them.
Pretty much. But yeah, I'm not even gonna pretend like there's a good pivot for this. But
hold on, I got the perfect thing for this. Those of you just joining us, hello and good morning. I hope you're having a good day so far.
I got nothing. Thank you all very much for coming and hanging out here. You know what? Because a lot of people, you could be doing anything else on a Saturday morning, but you're with us. We do very much appreciate that.
Yep. And if you like what we're doing, spread the word. Gamers Got a Game, live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
Yep. The more people that listen to the show, the more we'll be able to keep doing it.
Yep. Let us know we're doing the right thing. Give us a follow. Give us a like. Comment. Subscribe. Say hello in the chat. We'll highlight you.
Definitely highlight them. But I got a couple other things we'd like to talk about here before we wrap this whole thing up. So did you ever play the game Bully back in 2006 or 7 when that initially came out?
Can't say that I have, but I remember seeing commercials for it, I think, but yeah, I'd never had the opportunity to play it.
Well, it's one of my favorite games, actually. It's not just one of my favorite games from Rockstar, but I would say probably one of my favorite games of all time. It got a lot of controversy when it first came out. A lot of people were trying to say that it was going to be Grand Theft Auto in the schoolyard. And honestly, I kind of thought that too, just because, and this was back in 2006. I kind of thought that too when they first announced it, because I was like, oh, you're really going to put that in the school? You're just asking for controversy. Then I played the game, and the more I saw of the game, I was like, this is more tongue-in-cheek. This is more comedy. And it was. It got the T rating. but it ended up doing a lot better than even Rockstar thought that it was going to. And for some reason, they've never done a sequel. They did what was called Scholarship Edition, which came out for the Xbox 360, and they came out, I want to say, roughly about a year after it was initially put out on PS3. But they never did a sequel. They've talked about sequels. They've been, teasing sequels. There's even been rumors that they had been working on the game for 2 years and then scrapped everything. But now it's to the point. Think about that. 2006. It's now 2023. How many years is that?
2006, 23, 17.
17 years. The actor of Jimmy Hopkins. Sorry. The actor of Jimmy Hopkins in the original Bully is now pretty much demanding that they make a sequel.
Yes.
So he's actually, we were actually getting this from comicbook.com. The lead actor is demanding that Rockstar Games make Bully 2. Rockstar Games is known for making some of the best games of all time. And honestly, we have picked on Rockstar because it seems like now they put out a game every 5 years, if even that long.
And every 5 years is GTA 5.
Exactly. Or some other iteration of GTA 5, Then they did Red Dead Redemption 2, and it was like, okay, we're going to get something different, and now they're back to GTA 5.
They figured out how to make a horse's balls shrink in real time. Let's publish GTA 5 again.
Yes. And I like I said, we pick on Rockstar, and it just seems like, with Bethesda and all these other games or all these other studios that do the same thing where they just re-release the same game, at least they give us something different in between re-releases of the same game.
Right.
Rockstar doesn't.
We're getting Starfield pretty soon.
Exactly. And then we'll get Skyrim again.
Yeah.
And then they'll put out something else, and then we'll get Skyrim again. Then the new consoles will be out, and they'll be re-release of Skyrim again.
And then we'll get new technology, and we'll have Skyrim and Smell-O-Vision.
Oh, God. That would actually smell really bad. Imagine smelling that, like, right after the dragons.
Hey.
Ugh. Now I've grossed everyone out. Sorry.
Can you imagine Witcher 3 and Smell-O-Vision?
No, and I don't want to. I really don't want to. But yeah, so he's pretty much demanding that they give a Bully 2. And actually, I'm kind of demanding that. I want LA Noire 2, and I want Manhunt 3. That's my slate, though.
Wouldn't be too bad. Let's see if this video will play.
Rockstar, when are you gonna make Bully 2? Okay, I want to know. You don't have to cast me in it, but for the love of God, there are a lot of people out here who want to play this game. And I don't care what it's going to cost. I don't care if you've done your little metrics and you know what it costs to make versus what you think you're going to sell. Just make the goddamn game already.
Thank you.
Do one for the little guy. I know it's not a big money maker, maybe like GTA 27 or whatever. But make Bully 2, please, for the love of God. People want to play it. It means a lot to a lot of people.
So, yeah. I mean, Rockstar has the money to do it. Even if it's just like their little, like, low budget, like, pet project.
Right. And one of the things that they were talking about, too, like he said, even if it doesn't make a money hand over fist, right. That's the thing. It's like not every game that they put out needs to make $1 billion.
No, I mean, because again, there's some media companies where, or hell, even going back to my job, the news itself doesn't make money.
Right.
It's the advertisers and the commercials that make a station money. Mm-hmm. So as long as you have money coming in from somewhere, give the people what they want. I don't see what's so difficult about that. Then again, I'm not the biggest business mind, but still.
We need to bring on a business mind on the show and
really
talk about this. But yeah, because you got to think about it. You got that. You've got Manhunt, and Manhunt, I would think would actually be a really good setting for almost like a Dead by Daylight multiplayer. If you even had to tag multiplayer onto it, you wouldn't even have to. I mean, what is wrong with just having a game that's nothing more than just a single player game?
Right. The game, the games are, I'm sure you had like your Call of Duties and whatnot, but for me, for various reasons, I was basically just a Nintendo kid. So while people were playing Call of Duty and Battlefield and all that, I was 150% immersed in Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of times I had friends that lived around, but of course, if nobody could play, that's what I was doing. I was 100% immersed into like the Mario single player stuff.
Yeah.
That actually video games I credit video games with saving my life in some ways, and it was a lot of the single player games. I had nowhere else to turn.
Right, like I didn't necessarily have friends as a kid. It was just I'd be friendly with kids in school, but it's not like we ever hung out or anything. So what do? Is like I go home, I play The Legend of Zelda.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had a lot of kids in our neighborhood that we all we played, just because everybody was out, so we'd go out and kind of mingle with everybody. And then we go to each other's houses. But then it was a lot of times where they couldn't do anything. I'd be by myself. Guess what I was doing? I was playing with these. Not exactly this, but yeah, but exactly. Of course, PlayStation didn't exist back then, but you know what? I forgot. I was playing with these. I forgot I was doing more than that. Boop, boop, boop. So, but it seems like Jimmy Hopkins there might actually get his wish, because the very next story that we have is that an insider has spilled the beans on Bully 2.
Yep.
Now, I don't know how much I trust this though.
Yeah, it is more or less a rumor, but is coming from a more trusted source. So if what they say is true, long story short, after GTA 6 launches, after that's all done, that Bully 2 might be the next thing in line. Which, hey, I mean, it's about time.
Exactly. And we do have a listener, Junior, here. Actually says that story games in general need to make a comeback. I totally agree with you there, Junior. Story games, at least for me, I prefer the story over the multiplayer. I might be one of the few people that will buy Call of Duty just for the campaign and never touch the multiplayer.
And here's the thing too, is when it comes to multiplayer games, that has a specific shelf life to it. It's like you can't go to. Okay, there are some cases that break this, but they're like, for the most part, multiplayer games from like 10, 15 years ago that you really enjoyed, those games are dead. They're not being supported anymore. The servers are shut down. What are you supposed to do with it? It's garbage unless it has a decent campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always going to be value in that single player experience, or even a couch co-op.
Right. And that's where game preservation actually comes into play, because think about it. 10, 15 years from now, is anybody going to be playing Dead by Daylight? They probably will be playing that iteration of it, but the one that they're playing right now, servers are going to be down.
Right. Even some more recent ones, like words are hard this week, so I don't have the example locked and loaded, but you know the ones. You've heard the articles where like, oh, this Xbox 360 game is being shut down.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, and that's why I like a lot of the retro games, because I can go back to a game that was 15 years old and I can put it in my system. I can hook up the PlayStation 2 and I can play the original, the original Punisher, and still enjoy it the way that it was meant to be enjoyed. I don't have to do all these updates. I don't have to, I don't have to worry about them shutting the server down, because there's no server for it. And Junior was responding here. He said, "How about more single co-op story games, local host kind of story games?" Yeah, even ones like those that don't require a whole lot of storage,
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I can, again, like I'm very much a proponent of like indie games, and like that's one of the kind of the benefits. Like, yeah, you don't get the whole like multiplayer thing, but in the long run, since they're not all of them are focused, at least the ones that I play, they're not focused on it. It's like it's got legs. Well, not legs, but it'll be there. It'll be equally as enjoyable in 10, 15 years, provided it just doesn't get wiped out from the digital marketplace entirely.
Right. That was another thing I had actually spoken with my wife about. I was like, things like The Last of Us Part 2, where they were trying to shoehorn in a multiplayer on there that still isn't out so many years later. It's like, that's just proof that you didn't even need multiplayer. How many awards did that game win? How much money did that game make?
Right.
And it didn't even rely on multiplayer. They wanted it in there before they launched it, and they realized, you know what? Screw it. It doesn't need it. Go ahead and just put it out. And now they're still saying, oh, we're going to make a multiplayer experience for The Last of Us. But honestly, most people don't even seem to care.
No, again, it's like, it's one of those cases like, what do you remember The Last of Us for? It's not the multiplayer.
I barely even, until somebody mentioned it, I forgot that they even had a multiplayer on the original game. The biggest scene that you always remember is the opening scene for that game.
Right. It's the opening scene. Yeah, you remember the story.
Mm-hmm. Now Junior is saying here, with Xbox 360, Storm seems servers going dark. How many hundreds of not cross-compatible games are going to be lost? Exactly.
Right. And that's a risk of just having digital-only games, is they could take it away from you at any point. Whereas if you have it on disc, if you have a hard copy of it, they can't take that away from you.
Exactly. So buy this version, not the download version.
Yeah. If I had shelf space.
Yeah.
If I only had some space.
Yeah, that's one thing that a lot of people are upset with Remedy Entertainment for, because the new Alan Wake game is only going to be for digital download. Now they have kind of talked about recently that maybe they'll go into having a physical copy at some point. Mm-hmm. But they're saying right now, their reasoning, I can't argue with the reasoning, I just don't like it. But their reasoning for that was because if they did all that with the physical disc, they would have to pay for distribution, and then they would have to put a lot of that payment. They would have to increase the price of their game, and they want this Alan Wake 2 to be a $40-$50 game as opposed to $60-$70.
Okay.
And so they're trying to, their thing is they want to save the consumer money by saving themselves money. So I see the idea. It just sucks.
Right. Well, here's the thing too, just going to the digital versus physical in general. Why the fuck do they cost the same between either version? Mm-hmm. I can see, the physical being $60 because of, you're dealing with actual like materials and distribution and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But why not make the digital like $50 or $40? Why do they both have to be $60?
Exactly. And I mean, what is that? Like, do you think Spider-Man is going to be a $70 game? They've already said that. But if I get it for digital download, it's still $70.
Yeah, that makes no sense.
And honestly, it should be like at least a $5 cut.
At least.
At the very minimum.
I would say 10 at least.
Yeah.
But all the same.
Yeah, but I know we kind of went off the rails there a little bit, but but Insider says that Bully 2 is coming after GTA 6. Now again, I don't know how much I believe that, just because there's been so many leaks for GTA 6 or for Bully 2 and GTA 6. There's been so many false starts. There's been so many, we're going to work on this. We'll definitely get back to that. We love all of our IPs. we're going to see what we can do after that. And it's like, it's 5 years in between games. Come on.
Right. And this is all basically rumor at this point. So take any of that information with a grain of salt.
Exactly. But this is coming from a pretty reliable source.
So, yeah.
But then again, a reliable source is still just a source.
Okay, it's still rumor. So it's wishful thinking. It could be like, then it can be announced and then be like, yes, just like the fortune cookie said.
Mm-hmm. So it'd be nice if they actually, it'd be really super cool if Rockstar did this. If they put out GTA 6 and then like the day that they put out GTA 6, they announced Bully 2.
Right. Or what would be neat is if there was like a little Easter egg within GTA 6 that like announced Bully 2 would be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like you remember in Arkham Asylum where you get to the warden's office and if you blow up the right wall in just the right way, you saw blueprints for Arkham City.
Yeah. I can't talk. The developer actually had to tell people where that was at because nobody found that.
It was a really good secret.
Like so secret, nobody can find it.
We hid this a little too well.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I do remember that. Junior's saying at this point, Bully is dead, let it die. It's like, I don't know if we should let it die. I think we should pester Rockstar until they give us what we want. But honestly, they're not going to give us what we want. They're going to make what they want to make, which is good, because honestly, they do make great games. I will never say that Rockstar doesn't make great games. Because they do. Even Midnight Club was a great game. That they made a ping pong game, and it was still a great game. Yeah, they
hypergalactic Pong.
Yeah, that would be the thing. They would be like, "Oh, guess what? A huge announcement coming out," and then it's like the Pong, galactic Pong game coming out. That would be a perfect way to troll people, though. There'd be like a game that everybody has wanted for decades. This, completely redone, and then they go like intergalactic Pong.
It's like, listen, we are doing a remaster of Custer's Revenge.
Oh God, no. That would be the worst game to try to remaster.
Okay, I don't want it to be real. I just want to see it for like an April Fool's joke.
Yeah, that'd be kind of comical, but do you have any idea what kind of backlash that would get?
Man,
I mean, the original got backlash.
That's why it would have to be like an April Fool's thing. Where it's like it just shows up on Steam and it's just like it's just the entire screen is just censored and it has an announcer talking about it.
My God, I actually heard somebody say like they'd like to see a movie about them about Custer's Revenge, and I was like, they already have that, and they're like the worst movies ever. No, Custer's Revenge, and then I also heard what was that? Night Trap was one that they were wanting to
Night
do.
Trap, the most benign, controversial game in that era.
I actually have seen the game played. I haven't played it myself. I've seen the game played, and I don't understand the controversy for it.
I watched. I think Game Grumps did a playthrough of it some time ago, and I watched that, and it's like, all right, this is a lot tamer than mainstream media made it out to be.
Yeah. You can totally see where the controversy for Custer's Revenge, because that's just wrong in every level, every step of the way. But yeah, the other games, they just get these controversies. Like Bully itself got so much controversy when it came out, and there was no reason for it. But then again, Rockstar thrives on controversy, so they're like, "Cool, we'll be controversial. What else? Anybody got any coffee?"
Yes. Do you think this would be award worthy?
Okay.
I'm still using the wrong one.
So that came up. Segue. So there's no way to segue this. It's there.
Hence the segue.
Hence the segue. So actually, well, I gotta say, Junior was saying here. He was saying like make a Falling Star studio and a subset of Rockstar or something. have a smaller studio work on it, and it still gets done. So
Not a bad idea.
maybe you have a smaller studio. That'd be great.
Yeah, Rockstar Montreal or whatever.
Exactly. But did you speaking of games though, did you happen to see Gamescom this year?
No, I didn't get the chance.
So while they did have a lot of excellent games, they did put out a trailer for the upcoming game I'm super excited for, the Inquisitor. They did have a lot of announcements and a lot of things going on at that place at that one, or I'm sorry, at that show. Mm-hmm. They gave us an official date for the Game Awards, which will be 2023 December 7th. I am actually really looking forward to that. But one thing I got to say to anybody who may be in attendance at that show, don't storm the fucking stage.
Yeah, just don't be a jerk.
What? That has happened twice now. That the Game Awards last year, you had that one guy that went up during the Game of the Year Awards. Yep. And he pretty much ruined their moment because he was up there, and then at the very end, he said he wanted to thank his newly Orthodox rabbi, Bill Clinton.
Oh,
and it was like, there was no point to that. What? Okay.
And then someone tried to copycat it like the time after.
Yeah, somebody just tried to do something similar at Gamescom. Jeff Neely was actually up on stage, and he was talking about Starfield, and he was saying that he's gotten a chance to play Starfield, and he was kind of joking with the audience, going like, "Don't be jealous, I know you're going to be. I've had a chance to play it. It's great." And he was like, he was actually building up the hype because Todd Howard, the director of Starfield, was about ready to come on stage, and some guy rushes the stage and wearing an Austin 316 shirt, and you can't really tell what he's saying because Jeff pulls the microphone away, and then I honestly thought it was maybe part of the show at the beginning, but then he started talking about how disappointing that this is supposed to be a day where they celebrate the developers, but somebody acts like that. Yeah. And you can hear him yell something about Grand Theft Auto 6 before he's escorted away, and it's just like, why are we acting that immature? That's just stupid.
You just act like the grown-ass adult that you're supposed to be. Stop. Like, it's not all about you. It's about what the show is actually about. Stop making it about you. Mm-hmm. You selfish dumbasses.
I don't know. It's going to get to a point where they're not going to allow people to attend these things. It's going to be all developers.
Yeah, it's going to be all developers, and it's going to be, well, I mean, it's streamed anyway, but it's going to be like, just no live audience, and it's just going to make it awkward.
Right. Because they're trying to announce all these things to what do you call it? They're trying to announce all these things to the public, and they're trying to announce these to an excited crowd. And then it's just going to be the developer cheering on their own game.
Yeah.
Which honestly, if you've got a great game, that's cool. But
at the same time, it's just going to be looking a lot like this. So it's like, at that point, why do it at all? Just make the announcements on socials.
Exactly. It's really sad to see that that's where people are going. In what universe is it okay to storm the stage?
Right. I mean, like,
they've been doing.
It's like, listen, just because, we made a meme out of Kanye for doing it doesn't make it okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's not funny anymore.
It wasn't funny when he did it to Taylor Swift. Why do people think it's funny now? And it was the funny part about that was that when he interrupted Taylor Swift, it was actually to announce that he thought that Beyonce had the best video of all time. And then she ended up winning an award and then gave up her stage time to let Taylor come back up.
Yeah. Hold on. Wait. Yeah. As far as like talking about Kanye and like these people that are storming the stages for whatever, I have the perfect clip for this.
Stupid evolved prick. What do you even do?
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Stupid involvement. Now I'm gonna be thinking about that throughout the day.
It's just you're gonna be going for lunch. You're just going, I need nourishment, Tauros meat or something.
Yeah, and Junior here was saying the world is taking after the movie Idiocracy. It seems like it, especially with things like that going on.
Truer and truer every day.
So I don't know. Just if you plan on attending the Game Awards, you're watching this show, don't storm the fucking stage. Stay in your seat. If you have to go anywhere, go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom. Be respectful.
Mm-hmm.
I think, feel like it shouldn't have to be said, but I guess it has to be said. Just be respectful. The award show isn't about you.
Mm-hmm. It is about the gamer, but not about you specifically.
Right. If you want a show to be about you, there's YouTube, there's Twitch, there's X Twitter. So many options.
Facebook Live.
If
TikTok, that can be all about you.
If you have a camera, which you do because you have a phone, you can make a show about you.
Mm-hmm.
But don't hijack someone else's show.
Exactly. Because if he hadn't done that, I mean, think about it. The show would have been probably just as great, if not even better.
True.
You're not enhancing the show by doing that.
Right, because it just takes away the focus from the actual show, because then it's like, yeah, because all the outlets are going to be like, yeah, you see this jackass that just walked up on stage?
Yep, and Junior here is saying that he really misses the big event that E3 was, and same with PAX.
Yeah.
And, I unfortunately have never had a chance to go to PAX. I know a couple of my friends have, and I really like to go, but yeah, I really miss those. I miss E3 for what it was with those big conferences.
Yeah, I miss them too. But I don't know why. Like, I don't know. Sometimes the big colossal things just can't sustain. Because then you have different companies like Nintendo is like, nah, screw this, we're gonna do our own thing, and then Sony follows suit, and then.
And I can totally see why they'd want to do their own thing, but it was fun,
Yeah, it was a nice little event where it's like, I'm gonna take some time out of my day, hunker down on where was it airing? Like way back when? Was it G4?
Yeah,
that would air that.
Yeah, that was back before the days of Twitch, but yeah, it was airing on G4, and then eventually I think it moved over to airing on Spike TV.
Okay, yeah.
Which I don't know, is Spike TV even a thing anymore?
No, it's dead.
Yeah, it was on Spike TV, and then there was even after G3 got bought, or G4 got we're G3. Yeah, but even after they got bought by Esquire, I thought they still aired some things, but I can't remember. But then, by that time, most things were going on the internet anyway. You had YouTube was pretty much in its infancy, but was starting to do things like that. So, but yeah, that was really great though. It gave you something to look for every year, look forward to. It'll give you something to look forward to. Now it's like Sony's going, oh hey, we're gonna do a state of play and we're gonna do it on Thursday. It's like, okay, well you didn't really give us.
It's like
for people that may want to watch it, they have to work. You didn't give us any time,
It's like, again, like he's saying, don't have time to take 6 days off for every company to do a live stream with what they got for this year. But it could take 1 day off for everything.
Mm-hmm. So, but it was just, I totally agree. I totally agree with you there, Junior. But yeah, I don't know. I just miss the ways that it used to be, and it's probably never going to go back.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So,
so on that note,
yeah. On that note, we do gotta end the show here. But thank you all for coming and hanging out. You can always find us on our. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say thank you for chatting. If you followed anywhere, thank you for following. We're gonna continue to keep trying to do this. around the same time every week.
Mm-hmm. And it's not like these stories that we do. Sometimes we're going to have guests come on. I've actually got a few irons in the fire on that.
Yep, we're always growing, always evolving. So come join the ride.
Yeah. And thank you very much for coming and hanging out. And as we always say, remember, haters gonna hate and gamers got a game.
Peace.
All right.